Welcome to the Let's Talk Property with MFS podcast. MFS are a bridging loan and buy-to-let mortgage provider and not a financial advisors. The opinions expressed in this episode are personal to the host and guest and may not reflect the views of MFS. Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Property with MFS podcast. With me, your host, Mark Hutchings. This is the podcast where we're going to talk all things property. And so today, let's talk about becoming a specialist or bridging finance broker. I'm joined here by my good friend and guest, Akhil Mair, who is the managing director of our mortgage broker, who's got a wealth of experience within the field, who's works both in regulated and the unregulated sector. So, Akhil, thanks for making the journey in to come see me today. So I thought we'd touch base and start just sort of talking about how you got involved in this industry and sort of how you got to where you are now, sort of thing.
Pleasure. Thanks, Mark, for having me and MFS as well. So a bit about me. So as Mark said, my name's Akhil Mair. I'm the managing director of our mortgage broker. We are a mortgage and property finance brokerage based out of London. My career started back in 2002 in retail banking with Halifax. I slowly then became a private banking manager on my next journey with Bank of Scotland. 2009, with the massive financial crash that occurred, Lloyds bought into HBOS. I then moved into Lloyds Banking Group and became a credit analyst for the Southern European banks for Lloyds Banking Group. Between 2002 and 2013, Lloyds and HBOS was my career. Amongst that, I was a property landlord as well, and I bought my first property in 2005 at the humble age of 21.
Whoa. Most people aren't buying their first home at 21.
I was fortunate to do so, and that was one of the best things I ever did.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I mean, obviously, you know, how did you end up in the property sector? What is it that sort of drove you into the mortgage industry to start with? Was it just something you always wanted to do, or was it something that you know, sort of decided later on once that you wanted to move into it?
Well, the simple reason is this: because I've been in banking and finance, I've always loved money. I've always been around finance, and all our clients were well versed in the property space. And I was like, what's all this thing about property? People are buying, selling, house prices keep going up. So I took it upon myself to think, you know what, property seems like the best way of making money. It's a safe asset class. So that's why I entered that space. I married my education as well as my entrepreneurial mind at a very early years. And I thought, let me marry that together. And as I said, you know, it's one of the best things I ever did. And I've continued to buy property since 2005.
Amazing. So, you know, our mortgage broker, we do a lot of work with you guys. Yeah. You've got a fantastic team here there. So what made you do the jump onto starting your own business? Was it because you saw the opportunities within the market? Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah, so there was many things I would say what made me turn to become self-employed, open my own brokerage. One of the main reasons is because I'm quite entrepreneurial, quite driven. I like to hold my own, be accountable for my own desires going forward. So I've always loved property. I've always been in banking and finance. I thought, well, you know what, let me marry that together and start my own brokerage. So we started our own brokerage in 2017 as a one-man band. We're now successfully at 9 mortgage advisors within the business.
Fantastic.
So the business is growing to a nice pace. We've got a good team around us, and we're working with good lenders like yourselves at MFS who provide great products and services for our clients.
And you're moving offices. You're moving to a nice new space in central London, in Mayfair. So I'm excited to come see the new space in a few weeks' time. So it's
And you know, as we grow as a business, as we grow as individuals, we want to get closer to our clients. Yeah. Our clients are predominantly London-centric. So now, as of the 1st of April, we moved into Mayfair, so we're excited for that new journey. So there's lots. It is a big step, but again, you know, I think it goes back to the entrepreneurial mindset, working with a commercial mindset around our clients and doing the best for them. So it's like anything. If we want to do business with the right amount of people, we need to be in those sort of locations as well.
So it's good you know where you want to be, really. You know, I still speak to some people that have been doing this for 5-6 years and not entirely sure what sector of the market they're in. And obviously, you work with a lot of high-value clients, a lot of portfolio landlords. So, I mean, you know, I thought we'd kick off by just sort of touching on bridging and sort of explaining what your clients are using bridging for at the moment, really. Yeah. What sort of deals are they looking for, using bridging for, and why?
Okay, so bridging's always had a bit of a name tarnished because of it's short, it's
not cheap.
It's not cheap back in the day. We can talk about that in a second. So it's had a bad press. If it's not used properly, it can burn a lot of the borrowers.
Yeah.
I think the key now is bridging finance it's become a great tool to have in everyone's toolbox, predominantly for those guys and girls that are buying property as seasoned investors.
Yeah.
So they're buying property at auction, they're trading property in auctions, out of auctions, they're buying properties that have got short leases, for example, or they need to improve the EPCs.
Yeah.
So bridging for us is a great resource for our clients. We provide a service to our clients, provide that product. You, as well as other people, would know that not every property is mortgageable and habitable. For example,
I've seen a few of them.
Yeah, exactly. It could be an EPC F rating, so you can't get a mortgage on it, or it's not habitable, so you can't get a mortgage on it, or you're buying at an auction where you've got 28 days to close.
Yeah, need to move fast.
Moved fast. What is it? Cash or a bridging loan?
Yeah.
So we work with the likes of MFS to provide that extra resource for them to then buy that property. Could be below market value, could be distressed sale, could be a short lease, so you can't get a mortgage on it. So I find bridging a great tool. It's coming into more conversation, especially in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
People are more
aware of it, aren't they?
More aware of it, I would say. Yes, I agree with that. And also, they're more open to that play now as well, because they know that there's no other alternative.
Yeah.
They found a great property, they're going to add value to it, and then there's a lot of uptake as well in the value of the property as well. So I think it's a great tool. It's great that the likes of MFS are putting a lot more education, a bit more knowledge behind bridging loans. And the beauty there is there's more awareness. And yes, rates were 15, 16%, just let alone about 5-6 years ago. Now they're sort of below 10% for the year.
Yeah.
But I always say to the client, don't worry about that annual figure, because you're probably not going to be in that loan for near 12 months anyway. You might be in and out in 2 or 3 months.
A lot of it's just a backstop. They say 6 months. Normal lenders will give you a 12-month rolled up sort of deal just to cover yourself sort of thing. Or if it's a 6-month term you want, they'll extend it to 12. But then obviously, as you know, the idea is to get in, get out, do what you need to do, get in, get out, refinance it onto a more sustainable option. Yeah.
And the good thing about MFS is, and other lenders out there as well, you've got a buy-to-let range as well.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is, with our clients, we don't want to just stick them on a bridging loan and say goodbye. We want to work with that client throughout that journey as an exit strategy, if they're going to retain it onto a buy-to-let product, or if they're going to flip it on the open market. We're talking to that client. And that's what our business is built on. It's on the relationships. And we're quite proud of what we've done over the years and what we're going to continue to do. So we've got a great plan in place, and what we're doing, we're taking each step at a time, but we're working with our existing stakeholders to improve our business efficiencies, our client processes, and how we can build that relationship.
And you guys obviously providing an end-to-end service for these people. So you not only deal with the bridge, like you said, you will then exit them onto whether it be a term product or a specialist buy-to-let, whatever it may be. Obviously, you're there with them throughout that journey. So I think that's always a good thing when the broker comes in at the early stage, because you can use your years of experience to advise on best solution. Because sometimes bridging won't always work for a client. Indeed. You know, especially at the exit. It's all well and good getting the bridge, but you're exiting out. So at the moment, what you're seeing with the exit, is the exit a bit more difficult than previous, or you're still finding, people can exit pretty easily if they're willing to look at the current rates that are out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think each case is on its own merits, to be honest with you.
Yeah, cool.
And what we want to do is work backwards with the client. So we want to ask the client, what is the end goal? If the end goal is retain it onto a buy-to-let product, what we're going to do is go out to the market now and see if there is a product out there that suits them based on rental stress test, borrower's appetite, credit profile, rental income, background stress test, to make sure if this was today's day, we need to exit out today, can we find them a lender? And then we'll propose that. Now, obviously, where we are now in 2023, rates have now gone up quite a lot. We've had 11 consecutive increases in Bank of England base rate, which hasn't been helpful. But lenders are doing their best. Lenders are trying to maintain decent, not eye-watering rates. Stress tests are improving. I think lenders are now taking a view where they have to increase the arrangement fee to offset the rental stress tests. So I think lenders are working to the best of their abilities. We're also in constant conversations with the likes of yourself to see how we can become a bit more efficient, a bit more commercially minded. And I think that's where specialist lenders are now playing a massive factor in our business as a whole.
Yeah, so I think, times like this, it has been difficult for a lot of people. But times like this, product innovation becomes at the forefront for a lot of lenders. So, there's a lot of products coming to the market which, can help and assist people that are looking on their property journey, stuff that wasn't available last year. And then again, there'll be more and more products coming as we sort of go. So, I mean, did a lot of your, the brokers that work for you, obviously you've got 9 guys there at the minute. Do they handle a lot of bridging at the moment? Have they seen a lot of change in appetite for bridging compared to last year? So what you seeing? You seeing a lot more bridging inquiries sort of back end of last year, this year compared to previous years?
Yeah. So as much as we're a niche brokerage, we are fully versed in all types of aspects of mortgages and property finance. So we help clients that are first-time buyers, buy-to-let landlords, as well as commercial investors and owner-occupiers. Bridging is a massive part of our business, and simply because 70% of our business is all buy-to-let landlord space. So bridging will always be in our conversation with our clients. Clients want to add value to property. They want to profit on their return on their investment, return on their cash. The best way of doing that is buying distressed properties, short leases, for examples, properties where they look ugly and smelly and all that sort of good stuff. So they can add value that way out. And I usually find the entrepreneurs are the ones that are not frightened to take on those derelict properties, dilapidated properties.
They see the benefit. They see the end goal of what it could be.
And the opportunities that are out there as well, because the average Joe probably wouldn't want to buy that property because they're scared of the costs and the work.
Especially if you've never done it before.
Exactly that. So I think the beauty of that is the brokers at OMB are certainly talking more and more about bridging loans. It's certainly becoming more of a conversation on a daily basis. The percentage of inquiries month on month, year on year is certainly going upwards. So it's positive from the perspective of MFS. So the inquiries are certainly going up. We're doing a lot more bridging than we were 3 years ago, for example. But again, that comes to the clients that we're speaking to, how we're having those conversations and taking them on that journey.
Yeah, it's sort of educating them really, isn't it? And what the benefits you guys are seeing from using bridging? Is it just the speed aspect, or is it the fact that, they can be a bit more, special lenders can be a bit more flexible when they're sort of seeing the vision that the client's trying to achieve? What would you say sort of one of the major benefits you see from bridging at the moment?
I think the biggest benefit is the flexibility that the lender can approach the borrower with. So as I said, short leases, EPC improvements, it's an auction sale, so it's number of days that need to complete within. I think that's the benefit now of acquiring or having onboarded a bridging lender like MFS, for example. So that helps our clients buy those properties. As I said, it's coming up more and more in conversation now. I think it's this product, this type of service, this type of financial product will be here to remain for the foreseeable future. I think there's lots of improvements that we can all add, but I think as stakeholders, as business partners, we need to now make sure that we're talking collectively in how we can enhance, from a lender perspective, the product, from a brokerage side, lending criteria, and then also we can share what our borrowers are saying around efficiencies in how we can bring this more to light.
At the end of the day, it's all about the client journey at the end of the day, isn't it?
I agree.
And I think it's good. I love working with you guys because everyone you've got your team is very experienced within the market, within this industry. So again, it's very easy to put deals together with you guys because of the vast knowledge that you've got. I mean, what are you seeing most demand for bridging at the moment? What sort of stuff do you predominantly see? Are people using it for semi-commercial, commercial assets from speaking from the clients that you currently deal with, or they're using it for the buy-to-let, like you're saying, bring the EPC rating up, add a bit of love to increase that rental yield? Or, I mean, what are you seeing?
It's a mixed bag, to be honest with you. Predominantly, it's all unregulated bridging we're finding. We're seeing a lot more of that. And that's for properties that are buying from auctions. So those types of properties. Predominantly, we're seeing a lot of commercial at the moment. So permitted developments out there at the moment. There's lots of advantages taken on permitted development. So whether it's Class O, Class MA, commercial to resi, and so on, we're seeing a lot of those sorts of inquiries at the moment. Not forgetting the plain sailing residential buy-to-lets that people want to acquire. So we're seeing lots of that as well. So the good thing about bridging is it's a financial tool that can purchase all those types of properties. So it's one bridging lender, like you guys,
can do a lot.
That can do the whole lot. And that's what we love doing. There is a new bridging lender born every day of the week at the moment. So we are sport for choice. But again, at OMB, we like to work with people that we like, know, and trust. And also, they're on hand. I can call you on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Monday, and you're virtually going to be on call, trying to help the efficiencies and how we can move the cases going forward. So I think that's key from our side as a broker relationship, because we've got to deal with our borrower, our client.
It's having someone at the end of the phone, isn't it?
And all we want is an answer around
yes, no.
Yes, no. How can we move it on? What do you need from us? What can we do to help it further? And we've got to work as a team. We're a family, totally if you like, and we want to do business again and again with our clients and with our lenders. So in the bridging space, we like to work with a small group of lenders. MFS is certainly one of those. And it's all about having a commercial mindset, attitude with the underwriting, and also having a buy-to-let product range, which you guys have now got, which is phenomenal. So it adds another bow to your product range, as well as then gives us satisfaction that we can exit onto a buy-to-let with you guys, for example.
Yeah, it sort of takes a lot of the stress out of it. I mean, what do you think? I mean, moving on to you, you guys have been very successful in the short space of time that you've been within the industry. You've grown massively. Like I said, you're moving into a beautiful space in Mayfair where you'll be able to service and help look after your clients. I mean, what would you say has been one of the main factors, sort of, I think, well, I've got a good idea what you're going to say. It's based on your knowledge and your drive, because I see it in you every day.
Yeah.
We meet outside of work as well, always talking about business still.
Yeah.
So what do you say has been one of your main driving forces to get you where you are now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's probably my kids and the overheads that we've got as a business, as a family, to be honest with you. Apple iPads and all sorts. They're not cheap. And if Tim Cook is watching this, please can you decrease the prices on your iPads? They're not cheap at the moment. And there's funny little pens as well.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, I think, we don't chase the money first and foremost. What we do chase is the happiness for our clients. And I think what comes to light first and foremost is we actually enjoy what we do.
Yeah, it always helps, doesn't it?
It does. It's not a business. When we wake up, it's not like, oh God, I've got to travel to London or I've got to travel somewhere else and so on and so on. It's actually, we've got passion for what we do. We enjoy what we do. So it doesn't become an expense from that perspective. So it's nice seeing our clients grow as a business, as investors. We love helping first-time buyers acquire their first home. We get thrills out of that.
Of course, it's a nice feeling, isn't it?
It is. And I think, and that's the beauty about our brokerage. As much as we're a niche, small outfit, we've got the expertise and we're well versed in all those types of products and financial and mortgages. So that's the beauty about that. But what gets me up in the morning? Yes, family first. Family always gets me out of bed first. They're still on school holidays as we speak. I can't believe it, but it is what it is. But from the other perspective, it's as the managing director for the business, we're now a team of 9. I feel that I owe the team as well, so I'm doing it for as much for them because they've got families to feed and look after as well. So it's first and foremost it's family.
Family
passion
and drive. It's always a.
And I bought my first property at 21. So I think I've always had that entrepreneurial mindset. It just takes time to develop that now.
Yeah.
21, I'm 39 now. It's a journey that we're on. I'm still in second gear, I believe. So as long as the heart keeps ticking, and we're good to go.
I'd like to see you in third and fourth then. Obviously, we got you seeing it because obviously you're constantly hiring brokers. There's a lot of new brokers coming into the industry.
Yeah.
What sort of advice would you give these guys that that either maybe done a bit of mortgage broking and now moving into specialists, or some people are just moving straight into specialist finance? What sort of advice would you give these guys coming into the market?
I'd be a liar if I said it's going to be easy. It's certainly not going to be easy, first and foremost. It's self-education. The beauty about where we are today in our generation, our area that we live in now, internet is such a great tool. There's lots of free education out there.
You get everything on there.
There is. And I think in our broker community, we've got a good a bond between ourselves as brokerages. As much as we're competitors, we get on with each other when we meet at events and exhibitions. We actually say hello, we hug each other, we have a drink together and so on. And that's the same with lenders as well. So I think first and foremost, don't think it's going to be an easy ride. Don't chase the money. Yes, it pays us well, but you've got to put in the work and effort, blood, sweat and tears to get to that end goal. But I think education first and foremost. Don't jump too deep. Don't jump into the pool too deep. Start in the shallow waters and make your way up. The market, I believe, is heading into the specialist arena. I think you can see that by the way of the number of lenders that are entering that space. First and foremost, that market is growing. You guys at MFS are probably seeing a lot of uptake in new inquiries.
Huge amount. I mean, I speak, especially with new brokers introducing to us. So we've gone from having people that just strictly done resi, nothing specialist, and now clients that wouldn't be a specialist client last year and now being seen as a specialist client this year. So I'm having so many conversations with brokers like saying, well, normally I used to just give them out to someone, but now I'm seeing so many of them, they're starting to educate themselves. And again, education is the biggest part of it, I'd say. Yeah,
and it's not an easy tool. Specialist lending, it's not an easy arena to move into. It does become educational, it does take time. And I think where the fruits are now is with specialist lenders is they can now take on a lot of business that high street lenders have got no appetite for. Predominantly those buy-to-let landlords that own 4 or more properties now, because the way they stress test the portfolios in the background, or they just haven't got appetite or that lending criteria for that type of borrower or those type of properties. So I think the specialist arena will certainly grow, and we're seeing that over the last few years, certainly. And it'll be interesting to see how the path grows now for you guys.
Well, for us, we're expecting a huge driving force. Again, we work with amazing brokers like yourself. We're seeing a lot more new brokers coming into the market that normally we wouldn't see. So again, it is quite exciting to see all of that. And obviously the market can be very challenging. It can be very fast paced. So I mean, have you got any tips on handling the stress and how do you manage your time? Because obviously you can have, with me as a lender, I work with a broker, which I'm speaking to someone that does this day in, day out. You guys obviously have to deal with a direct client. Sometimes they're not necessarily, some will be very well versed within it. Some of them will need a bit of hand holding. So you can have sort of 10 or 15 clients at one time. One that needs more than the other. How do you generally tend to, how do your team manage that?
Well, the team are not here, but what I would say is they're certainly good at what they do. And it comes back down to that passion, the desire, and the efficiencies within our business. So I've created as the business leader, and we've created a great framework, a business framework, in how we adopt new clients on board, how we take them through the journey, the processes and systems. So I feel that our efficiencies are there or thereabouts. There's always room to grow and improve, no doubt. But again, it's how we work with our stakeholders. Now, we've got to work with the lender, we've got to work with the borrower, we've got to work with the agent, the surveyor, the legal conveyancer as well. So there's lots of stakeholders that we need to work with. And again, I think it comes down to communication, first and foremost, keeping all channels open. I wish that we can create a WhatsApp group for all our clients that can have a WhatsApp client, broker, lender, valuer, solicitor. Have a WhatsApp group, everyone can talk to one another and see how things are progressing. I think we're a bit away from that at the moment. I think, to be honest with you, buying property in England, in Scotland and Wales, it's a bit outdated, to be honest with you. I don't think the efficiencies are there where they should be in today's era that we live in. But listen, I think if we work as businesses, entrepreneurs, and work collectively with stakeholders, we can improve that together.
I totally agree.
If you're going to go far, you go together. There's a saying, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of work to be done. But again, I think it comes down to open communication and having efficiencies within your own businesses.
No, I totally agree. And especially, it's such a fast-paced industry, isn't it? It's always good, like we were saying, always good to have someone at the end of the phone. Sometimes it can be a very simple question. If you're waiting you need that answer before you can do the rest of it. And sometimes you're waiting 48 hours for a response on this part, stopping you from carrying on on that part. So, I mean, looking ahead of the rest of the year, what do you see for the specialist finance industry? And more so moving into 2024, do you sort of see things, going over just from your personal experience?
Yeah, and that's a good question. I think the problem at the moment is there's lots of factors out there in the global world that are taking a lot of detriment on all our personal life, business life.
They're not necessarily all on our doorstep either.
They're not on our doorstep. They're across the pond, whether it's in Europe, whether it's the Far East, whether it's the US, and so on and so on. So there's lots of dramas happening in the world at the moment. But what I would say is this is nothing new to us.
No.
I think history always repeats itself in different shapes or forms. I think what we are now, we're a bit more resilient as business owners, as humans. We're a bit more resilient. And I think in the financial space, we're well versed in that space now because we've gone through that 2008 crash. We had the crash in the 80s or 90s, whatever it was at that time. I think we were well versed in that now. I think our efficiencies, our businesses, and our own personalities have now grown. So I think we're a bit more resilient, a bit more stronger now. So we're not going to hit the canvas immediately. We'll be more proactive rather than reactive. So I think that's key as a business, how we grow in our own channels. I think the specialist market will certainly improve in terms of product offering.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I think making the wider market more aware that there is specialist lenders out there. It's not just the 5, 6, 7 lenders that you see on the high street that only offer mortgages.
Yeah.
I'm still quite shocked to see that people only think there's only those lenders out there in the open market. The beauty about clients, I had a client actually call me yesterday to say, what is the benefit of using you? And I said, well, how long have you got? And I said it in a real nice, meaningful way that there's so many lenders out there in the market. Every lender has a spot in this world, in the mortgage space, or the short-term space.
Or USP, or a different criteria.
I agree. And I think the key here is it's saving them time.
Yeah.
There is obviously a rate swing between high street and specialist lending. It was big, that gap.
Yeah.
But now that rate's becoming squeezed. And that's because of the benefit of how specialist lenders are funded, which is now getting more and more improving. The rates are becoming more and more cheaper. So you pay for what you get in life. You know, if you're going to a specialist lender that's lending to a particular property or a particular borrower, you're going to have to pay for something in life. You know, you pay for what you get. But I
It's the same as
say,
paying for your lawyer. You pay your lawyer for advice, same as you pay a broker for advice. It's because they're trained within that space. You know, a lot of, you know, the largest clients that I've seen over the years, they always have a broker working for them because first of all, they haven't got the time. They're busy out there doing what they're supposed to be doing, sourcing properties, finding deals. You know, it's the broker's job who's got industry inside knowledge. You know, they've got good relationship with lenders. So if I was to go up as a direct client, I might not get the same response as a broker that's been working with their BDM at the lender for 2-3 years. So I'm a strong believer in it. I always recommend to people when they come to us direct to saying, look, you know, you need to start looking for a broker if you're going to be making a career out of this, because they can price stuff for you. They can look at best product offerings, you know, and things like that. I mean, look, sort of nearing the end now, but I wanted to know, all right, I'm not going to try and put you on the spot here. What would you say is one of the biggest lessons you've learned within this, in your career and through your process of going from, you know, the working in regulated space for one of the major lenders to moving into your own business and working with a whole variety of lenders?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is, what's the biggest lesson I've learned? Bloody hell, that's a good question. I think being a good communicator is key. I think being patient, being a good communicator, and thinking before you take any massive steps. And I think taking advice from others that have been there, done it, wore the t-shirt, I think that's key as well. So, you know, keep open communication, think before you take any giant leaps, and speak to people that have been there, done it, wore the t-shirt. And I think we're not so good, especially in the UK, we're not so good at asking for help. Whereas over the pond in America, they love that sort of stuff. They put themselves out there, ask them to questions. So I think it comes down to education. You know, I think I love the market that we're in. It really does give me a buzz.
And like you said, everyone's willing to work with each other, because sometimes there's a deal which you would have never seen before in your life. But then, you know, a broker you're speaking to has dealt with something similar. So you can say, right, what did you do on this? How did you make it work? And it's nice that people reach out to each other, because we are all effectively competing against each other, but I think everyone knows there's more than enough business out there for everyone to be very successful at it, and, you know, share the journey with each other.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the last thing I'd probably want to say is just be patient. You know, it's a marathon. Whether you're buying your first property or your 100th property, it is certainly a marathon. Be patient, have good communication, take advice from others. That's where I'd leave it.
Perfect. So, right, last and foremost, obviously, I know you're very active on LinkedIn and various other things. If anyone wants to reach out to you to have a chat, whether it be a client or whether it be another fellow broker, where's the best place? Where can we find you?
Well, the beauty about our business is we've kept communication so wide open. So our client can reach us on Instagram, LinkedIn, traditional email and telephone. The best thing is ourmortgagebroker.co.uk.
Perfect.
And you get all our social media links as well as contact details. But I think the website will be the best place.
Amazing. Well, look, you've heard it there. So just like to say thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Property with MFS today. Please don't forget to comment and subscribe. And don't miss out on any of our future episodes. If you want to learn more about Market Financial Solutions and what we do, please do visit www.mfsuk.com. And finally, I'd just like to say thanks again for Akhil, and looking forward to working with you for the rest of this year.
Thanks again, Mark.
All right.